We're living the authentic life with this amazing, beautiful Texas princess,
Houstonian.
queen. Do you prefer princess, queen? I'm a Contessa, so I like to give titles to people.
Oh, okay. Well,
You're a sugar plum fairy?
for sure. My mom is, the goddess is still alive. So if you're not the goddess, what comes next?
The goddesses?
No,
I don't know. I
the-
don't
the
know.
princess,
But
what?
Lauren Anderson, she is a Texas, but specifically Houston treasure. You're a native Houstonian.
Houstonian.
You went to Lamar High School.
Redskins. Whoop, whoop.
Love that. And you have danced with the Houston Ballet since you were 7 years old.
Well, okay, so I started in the academy. In the Houston Ballet Academy at the age of 7. And then I graduated from Lamar. I took classes up until I graduated from Lamar, and then I got in the Houston Ballet Company.
Oh, okay.
So, and then that meant I was a professional dancer, right? That means, well, I can't say it means you're in the Nutcracker, because I was in Houston Ballet's first Nutcracker at 7, because they have kids in the Nutcracker, right? So
They
yeah.
do.
Yeah,
And
the students are in the Nutcracker. Actually, there's probably more students than there are company members.
And it's such a great opportunity. Bella was our 14-year-old daughter. She was only in the Moscow Nutcracker because that wasn't as many.
Only.
Well, because it wasn't as many commitments. Because to be in the Nutcracker is a huge
For sure.
time commitment, emotional commitment. You
As a student. Because,
as a student.
as a professional dancer, it's your job. So, right, you're doing it. But as a student, it's a commitment for sure. Something that you're not used to. So you have your ballet classes as a young dancer that you come to maybe once, twice, 3 times a week. And then as you get older, you have more classes a week, right? You have more classes, you have more ballet classes on more days, point, modern, whatever. And then you start partnering with a guy. So then you have more classes, and then by the time you're doing 5, 6, 7, 8 classes a week, you are graduating from high school. So then when you get in a company, now that's something totally different. That is a 9 to 5, 5 days a week. You come in at 10, you take an hour and a half ballet class, you got a 20-minute break, then you rehearse for 3 hours, you got an hour break, you rehearse. It's an 8-hour day. You dance 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. You don't just come on the weekends and like, take a couple hours here and a couple hours there and then go shopping. And,
Oh, no. It almost seems
it's
like
a full-blown thing.
you're more committed to things because you're at class and doing dance when you're younger.
Right. So when you're younger,
more time
you
constraint.
have your 8 hours of school, then you have your additional, for sure. It's like being in the Olympics, right? So if you're a kid that's training for the Olympics, if you're training for the Olympics, you have your job that you do or whatever, and then you train. And then you do the Olympics, and then you're done. Well, as a dancer, you do that, and you're always in the Olympics. You never get out of it, right? So the performance is the Olympics, and all the training in between is your training for the job.
And then you found a way to take all of this passion and then continue it after you weren't the
thing.
The
thing.
The goddess.
The reinventing of oneself. So we are athletes. So as a dancer, you're an athlete. It's just like being a football player, but we don't run into each other. Perfect example. We have the same injuries.
You do.
Without concussions. That's the difference. Okay. So it's a young art form. You can't do this until you're, well, we used to say there are no 40-year-old quarterbacks, but what's his face is what, 47?
He's just bursting breaking all the records.
So, generally the average age of retirement is 26 or 29 for a dancer. By the time you're 30, it hurts. It hurts.
Yes.
It hurts. For real.
And you talking about breaking stereotypes and boundaries. You were the first African American lead ballerina in Houston, the second I read
anywhere
in the world.
Well,
and Ben Stevenson talked to you about how I read your body wasn't that, the way you looked wasn't that of what he thought at the time was a ballerina.
Oh, and I agree.
Because you are curvy and ballerinas
well, I'm
are
much more curvy now. We've made some purchases. But I'm just saying. But it wasn't that I was curvy. It's that I was really, really muscular, and it was the way I
these
danced.
arms, girl.
It wasn't the body; it was the way I danced. So people get it twisted. And
Okay.
but at that time, it was all about the skinny girl. Right?
Yes.
It's still all about the skinny girl, but the skinny girl with curves now. But
Yes.
you can pretend like you want a meaty girl. And I think meaty girls are really attractive. I love some curves. That's why I bought some. But I think the idea in your brain, it's just because if you're dancing 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, you're not going to have much body fat.
Oh, right.
But I was muscular, but it was the way I was dancing. I kind of danced, I would say, like Conana on point, right? You can't be Conana. You need to be graceful. You can be muscular, but you need to be graceful. And I think that was more
of what he was saying.
What he was saying. But I have heard people say, black girls can't do ballet. They don't have the right body. Your behind is too big. You've got this, that, and the other, all the things. But every tutu I've ever seen covers up the booty. Every single one. I've never seen a tutu that wasn't fluffy, that didn't cover. I mean, anyway, we could go on. But I think what was awesome about Ben is he said, this is what had happened was.
Tell us the real story.
Happened.
Let's get real.
So my dad went in to find out, as parents do, we are put here to embarrass our children. We are. So my dad went into the office and said, so, Mr. Stevenson, will Lauren be a ballerina? We've been investing in this for years. She's 13. She's been here since she was 7. Is this her thing? And Ben said, he was honest. He said, well, no. I think musical theater would be good for her because she can sing. She has a good personality, but she should keep taking ballet because if she's going into musical theater, if you have a ballet training, you have a better chance of getting more roles. She'll be more successful. So keep training. But I don't think that I just don't look at her now and think she's going to be a ballerina now. I was devastated because at that point I decided I wanted to dance. So I left the office. I don't know what they talked about to this day. Dad comes out. I said, Daddy, I don't want to take those classes anymore. I was very Catherine Hepburn. No more the lows. Anyway.
I love that woman.
I do too. I love me.
Yes.
But he said, oh, no, you're taking those classes because I've paid for them, number one. And you don't quit anything. Go to the end of the year, then we make a decision. So I said, okay. So I'm sure I pouted. I was a teenager, so I'm sure I was teenager-y for a couple of weeks. I'm sure I pouted. And then, but I loved it. And I really wanted to be a ballerina. So I thought, okay, I will train here and then go to New York. That was my idea. I'll go to New York and dance at Dance Theater of Harlem, where the other black people are, where they accept a booty or whatever it is. So, long story short, honey, I didn't have to go anywhere. I changed the way I worked, and he made me Alice in Alice in Wonderland. So, okay, let's fast forward. Same year. We have a student show, like the school program, the spring show. So every kid in the Houston Ballet Academy is in the spring show, unless your parents say, no, we can't make the commitment.
Okay.
So we go to the board, the casting comes out. We run to the board to see who's going to be, what your role is going to be. The year before, I was in the lobster quadrille, and I was a flower or something, right? It's Alice in Wonderland. So I go to the board, and I look, and I don't see my name on the cast list. I see Alice Anderson, but I'm figuring, Alice is white, so I'm figuring some other chick coming in with the last name Anderson. I look down, there's nothing. So
thinking you didn't make it.
Hey, I'm the only kid in the school that didn't. He just told me I wasn't going to be a dancer, so I figured I wasn't. So I go in the office. I have nothing to lose. They don't want me. That's what I'm thinking. I go into the office, and I said, Mr. Stevenson, why am I not in Alice in Wonderland? He goes, darling, you're Alice. And I went, I can't be Alice. Alice is white. That's literally, I said that. I said, I can be Alice.
I have chills for you, girl.
And he looked at me and he goes, darling, you're a dancer, and a dancer dances. The only color in art is on a canvas. And I went, child, I'm Alice. And I walked out of there.
Oh, God.
And I got to do Alice and Alice in Wonderland.
Wow.
So
someone believed in you?
He believed in me before I did, for sure.
Yes.
The person that said you probably would, I know. So what happened is, he said, sometimes you don't know where you fit in. But every role is important, right? Alice was the lead chick. But it was amazing. It was amazing. So I got to be Alice in Alice in Wonderland, and that was the little bit of hope I needed to keep going. So I trained here. I took Pilates. I worked differently. I did everything I could to lengthen my muscles. And girl, lo and behold, I auditioned, got in, and then became a soloist 3 years later. A principal for 1990, became the first black principal dancer in the Houston Ballet. And he made me a star.
Wow.
He believed in me before I could. Gave me all the tools I needed to be successful.
And I love that
and
you're...
told me the truth all the way through.
Exactly.
When I was the Sugar Plum Fairy, he said, okay, now look, you're first in the company. I'm going to make you the Sugar Plum Fairy. But don't get it twisted. They're expecting you to fail. The audience, they don't know. They haven't seen a black Sugar Plum Fairy. He said, but just know that you have to be better than for people to accept you as equal until you prove yourself. But you need to be better than anyway. That was Ben Stevenson. That was my dad and Ben Stevenson. Like the combo of that was.
But there's so many things that I want to go back to. First of all is your parents. I think that makes a huge impact.
Absolutely.
And what you're doing in the community for kids that might not necessarily have parents,
Right.
I
That's
think
that
is
too.
changing, and using your platform and what you were able to break through to make those changes and to pull the kids through. Because I know my daughter is a freshman in high school, and she's struggling with a lot of being a teenager, a lot of emotional challenges, but 2 teachers have really believed in her and are pulling her through all the chaos. And I think you're doing that by showing kids that life doesn't have to be what people tell you it is.
You can change your narrative at any time, of course. But the thing is, there's a lot of kids out here that aren't allowed to be kids. So they're in horrible situations. Okay, so they either have one parent and that parent's working all the time, so they have to be at home with their brothers and sisters being the adult.
Parent, right.
Right, so there's that. Or other situations, mental health, addiction. I mean, there's all kinds of things. Or just being in a janky situation.
I
Right?
like
School
that word.
is not easy.
No.
Growing up is not easy, right?
Especially with COVID added to the
Well,
mix.
and then there's that. Girl, we hadn't even talked about that.
I know.
So this is before COVID, right?
When you could actually all be together and have connection and dance.
Connection's important. And people didn't realize how important connection was. The problem with that is, with COVID, is people tend to isolate. And then you find these things to do alone where you don't need connection, or where you feel you don't need connection, but
Yes.
you do. And that's creating a lot of space for mental illness and alcoholism and drug abuse and isolation, which is depression.
It is. And do you feel that being connected to dance helped your mental health?
Okay, so being connected, I have been doing what I have loved to do since I was about 13. I can't say ballet is what I loved at the age of 9.
Okay.
Or at the age of 7. At the age of 7. At the age of 9 was a time when I saw my first black ballerina, and I was like, oh my God, I want to be that. I didn't know. Sometimes you don't know you haven't seen it until you see it, right? So that I was like, oh, I want to do this. And then something happened, whatever. Hormones changed. I turned 11. Who knows what happened that day. And I think I discovered violin. And I was much better at the violin than I was at ballet. And so kids like an easier, softer way, right?
Yes.
So then there was that. So I wanted to quit and blah, 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 blah. All that said,
So did your parents ask you to choose, or did you feel that you needed to choose?
No, my parents asked me to choose because they said, well, if you're going to do this, you'll need private lessons. And we're not going to give you private lessons in both. You can't commit to both. So pick one. So I said, oh, my ego. I'm so good at the violin, I can pick that up at any time. I'll dance. Which is so not true because I can't even play Mary Had a Little Lamb right now. But yeah, so that's how that happened.
And I think it's fascinating. Malcolm Gladwell says 10,000 hours is when you become an expert. And so you've probably put in 200,000
What, of
hours
dance?
of dance.
Oh,
Or
more than that.
Probably more
because
than
I'm
that.
56, and I've danced since I was 7. I've danced a lot since I was about 11 or 12, right? When I became an intermediate student. So I would say since that, how many hours I put in, and I'm still, I don't do it professionally. Well, I'm a master teacher now. So now I teach. So I'm still doing it.
Right. And it would be hard to teach without have done it yourself.
Well, you have to learn it. You have to know it. I don't
And
think you can
know how
teach
to
something you don't know.
Right. I completely agree. And I think it's...
But you don't have to have been a professional dancer, because there's some people that dance, and they've studied it and have a love for it, and then go to college and get a degree in it and know way more than I do. I understand the performing aspect. I do understand kinesiology, and I have taught since 1987, so I've been doing it for a while. And I'm a good teacher when it comes to just relating to kids. And it's all about the kid. When you can leave your ego, like really leave your ego at the door, then you become a good teacher. Because I taught from 87 on, and I didn't really become a good teacher until I stopped dancing.
Oh.
Because I stopped performing in class. It wasn't about me anymore.
That's so interesting.
So I think, to be a good teacher, it needs to be about the student, and you need to be able to teach the student that's in front of you. There's not one way to teach people. There's not one
Everyone
way.
has a different way that they learn, that
Everyone
they
has a different way
are
to learn.
inspired.
Everyone has a different experience. They're bringing their experience to the room. So you get to weed through that and teach their experience. That's the soul. That's the person you're teaching.
And I read that
there's technique.
Right. To teach that, but at a certain point, it's beyond technique.
It's beyond technique.
And I've read that being a leader is taking people from where they are to where they've never been before.
To where they've never been, and giving them all the tools to be successful. Is that not awesome? Ooh, goosebumps,
girl,
honey. Yes.
It is.
That's a great leader.
Yes.
That's a great leader. You can be a good leader. You can lead. You can be a good leader, but you can be a great leader. And a great leader can see how to empower people to be their best. Oh, absolutely. That's how you form an excellent team.
And I think it's so incredible that you were able to, at that time in your life, figure out what you could commit to. Because I feel like, so there's this...
as a kid,
you were just committing for a moment. Oh.
Right? So they said, you get to pick one. And I said, well, I'll pick ballet, because that was more of a challenge, I think. And I had so as the violinist, you get to make music. And I think an exceptional violinist probably becomes the music. As a dancer, you get to interpret the music. An exceptional dancer becomes the music. And I love music. And I love moving. You see, I probably haven't stopped moving 17. Right? Probably haven't. So to put that together, and then to tell a story without using words.
Yes, because dance is storytelling. Rob never really loved dance until we went to Vail. I told you that's where we fell in love, or he fell in love with dance. I grew up loving it and being inspired by it. But I thought what was so amazing there is that they're putting so many different types of people together who do what they do best to the same song, and it's so magical. And that's the incredible opportunity we have now in 2021 that we didn't have before. And you just put together this amazing performance for the city of Houston. So you do take people from all different sections of, was that for the Society of, you were telling me about this, that big event that John Cangelosi went to.
Oh, all right. Okay, so the Houston Arts Alliance.
Houston Arts Alliance. I didn't want to look at my computer, but I couldn't remember the name.
No. So the Houston Arts Alliance Gala is called Immerse, and we take, and I believe I know, there's so much talent here in Houston. It's amazing on all fronts. Music, dance, visual art, everything. Design, spoken word, poetry, writers. There's just so much. So the event is for the Houston Arts Alliance. I'm on the board of Houston Arts Alliance. And it's called Immerse because I feel that you should be immersed in the art of Houston. So our fundraiser is called Immerse. And we had spoken word, we had dance, we had opera, we had a singer, like a band. We had everything. It was wonderful. Yeah, take it all and have an evening of being immersed in art. Absolutely.
Because
for a good cause, because the money went to disaster relief for artists in Houston. Because we had Harvey, we've had COVID, we keep having these disastrous things happen, and the arts go away. What's the first thing to go? The arts, because people think it's expendable, but it's not. You know, there's artists. We all need art in our lives. There's artists that do the art. People need to survive. So anyway, so that's what, yeah. I mean, I could go on about it, but we have so many.
Many other things. Okay, so you go out and you meet with kids. Tell us a little bit about these experiences in your job, and like maybe share a few of the greatest moment, or like what makes you have goosebumps.
Chicken
Tell
skin.
us about
My grandmother calls it chicken skin.
the goosebump moments with these kids.
Wow. Okay, so I work in education and community engagement. I'm the associate director of education and community engagement at the Houston Ballet. My title is long.
Long, girl, and illustrious.
Well, I don't know about illustrious, but it's long. Because I teach in cafegimatoriums with ketchup and syrup on the floor. I mean, you know, whatever.
That's where the learning
That's where the learning happens. So I get to go into schools and underserved communities.
Uh-huh.
Well, Houston Ballet brings programs to these schools.
Okay.
Right. And so we have one program called X3, and I call it, it's Explore, Extend, Excel. And they get to dance. And then after they dance, they get to perform for other students and their families. So we take an entire grade level, and I call it up, up, down, down, because it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, it's, the water warms up and turns into gas. It's evaporation. How fun is that, right? And you learn about the water cycle.
Yes. Right.
So, because we have a lot of English as a second language, ESL learners, and we have kinesthetic learners, and then we have visual learners, and we have textile. I mean, so we work with concepts and help the kids get the concepts, because they have to take that horrible thing called the STAR test.
Yes.
And I get it. You have to know where the kids are, whatever. So, but they need to move. Kids need to move. So if you can learn and move and have a good time and become self-aware and work on social emotional learning, I mean, if you can do all that in an hour with a kid, yeah. So what a takeaway from that is I get to give scholarships. We give scholarships to students through a few of our programs that, and they get to come to the Houston Ballet and become a student at the Houston Ballet Academy. So they get to be in the Nutcracker at the end of the year, blah, 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 blah. All of it, all the feels. And change a life. It's an opportunity that they would never have had. I mean, ballet lessons are expensive. Dance clothes are expensive, right?
They are. There's a group called Celebrate the Beat in Vail where they do the same thing in the summer.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to me that some kids have never even had the experience of dance. Like, they've danced with their friends in the streets, but they've never...
Well, how would they get to a theater?
Exactly.
Okay, so you got to pay a phone bill, a light bill, and a gas bill, and you've got to feed your family. What money do you have to go downtown and spend $80 on a ticket to see the Nutcracker or see whatever? You don't.
No, it's not going to happen.
That's a luxury.
It is.
Where it should be a right.
Yes.
Every child should have high quality arts education, period.
And there's so much to creativity and allowing you to think in a different way.
Critically, it allows you to think critically. It allows you to have self-esteem. It gives you all the things you need to be successful anywhere, in any business, doing anything. So, because you have to work hard, teamwork, all the things, all the feels.
So you have a huge group that you're also managing at the ballet. And I've learned how to say that. I don't know that I say it correctly still because of my Texas accent, but the ballet instead of ballet.
Oh, well, you make it sound like belly. But no, well, ballet and ballet is so Texan, because I'm sure they say the ballet.
Exactly.
I don't know, but I'm from Texas too, girl, so.
I know, so you're not being critical of that.
Yeah.
So one of the most incredible things, so I met you and had lunch with you, but you don't tell all your accolades. But girl, you're in the Smithsonian. I mean, what the heck? I mean, how What was that?
What?
What?
Yeah,
Tell
I know.
that story.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I get an email. Okay, so this story is kind of funny. Hold on, let me sit back here.
Yeah. Lean
Right.
on back on the
So
cozy pink couch
no,
where
but
you
then I
belong.
get, okay.
He might be sleeping in a minute.
I know. So I'm at the ballet and I'm working on whatever program that we're about to take to whatever school, and I get an email, and it's from someone named Timothy Ann Burnside, and we would like to have a pair of your shoes and some of your memorabilia, blah, 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 in the Smithsonian National African American Museum of History and Culture that's going to be built. So this was 2015. That's going to be built in 2016, or maybe it was even 2014. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, this is a scam. Somebody's trying to...
Get my shoes.
Well, no, not my shoes. Just somebody trying to get into the account. I don't know.
Yes.
So I see a number at the bottom. So I call the number, right? So I dial the number. And she goes, Timothy Ann Burnside, Smithsonian Museum. And I went, and I hung up the phone because I thought, oh my goodness, it's real.
It's real.
So I email her back, and wow, she goes, well, I'm coming down to pick up Carl Lewis's, to pick up Carl Lewis's medals, 9 gold medals. I said, well, wait, he won 10, not all gold, but medals, Olympic medals.
Yes.
She goes, yeah, well, remember the first one? I said, that's right, it's buried with his father.
Aww.
I know. So she goes, well, I'm coming down to Houston to pick that up and to pick up a couple of other things. Can I come to the ballet? So I connected her with the PR at the ballet, and she came and got all kinds of stuff. And I have a costume that's going to be there. My Cleopatra costume is going to be in the museum. So she's got my shoes. So she's got the last pair of shoes I wore as a Sugar Plum Fairy when I retired.
Oh, did that make you sad to part?
No, I thought it what an honor.
Yes.
Like, I was still teaching in those shoes, wearing them to teach in point class. But I had no problem. I couldn't believe it. So the museum opens in 2016. It opened in 2016, and I took my son. I said, honey, okay, you're coming to the opening of this. This is kind of historic, right? So he had to, his teacher said, okay, well, you've got to take pictures. His history teacher said, well, go here, here, and here, take a picture here, and write a report, blah, 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 blah. And with your mom's shoes. So we go the day before. There's 3 presidents and their wives. Patti LaBelle is singing the whatever. So, I mean, it was starts at Oprah. You know, she gave, I don't know how many $millions. There's the Oprah Winfrey Theater there, and on and on. So it's a huge thing.
And did you meet all of them?
No, but hold on.
Okay,
well,
sorry.
I was there. So,
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So I emailed Timothy Ann, and I said, okay, so my son needs to get in to see the shoes before the gala opening night, because he wasn't going to the black tie thing, but he was going to all this other stuff. She goes, well, let's see. I got 15 minutes between. Okay, so Patti LaBelle's got to get in and do her sound check, and Usher's coming through we can squeeze you in 15 minutes. So she's talking to my manager. So my manager says, okay, we got this time. Let's go. So we all go. My son is there. I said to her, don't mention Usher. Just don't mention Usher, because Mom is not as cool as Usher. So don't mention Usher. So he goes, oh, Mom, I can't wait to see your shoes. We get there. She goes, okay, so we got to go because Usher's going to be here in 10 minutes. He went, Usher. Mom, can I stay here and wait for Usher? I said, no, honey, we're doing this for you to get in and take this picture. He goes, but I want to see Usher. So anyway, we get in there. Forget Mom's shoes. We get in there. We get to the 3rd floor, whatever, which is the sports floor. So she's kind of taking us through really quickly. The sports floor was so cool. Like, you know, Muhammad Ali's gloves, the torch that he carried for the Olympics, the gold medals, the gold and silver and bronze medals Anyway, you know, all these things, all these major things. We get up to the floor, called taking the stage, and I'm vibrating. And I don't see, like, my picture on the wall and the video. There's a video of me dancing, whatever. I don't see, because it's all kinds of stuff. There's
right. And
Debbie
you're so
Allen
distracted. And
I'm
you're
just
like,
squirrel! You know, I'm all over the place.
Yes.
And we get in, and there's an Alvin Alien thing, and all of a sudden, there's this huge case, and it says Dancing of Harlem. Because my circle goes full circle with their story.
Wow.
So in the case, Arthur Mitchell was the first male principal dancer ever, right? And he was with New York City Ballet, which was huge, in 1950 whatever, or 60 whatever. So he started Dancing of Harlem in 69, And that was the company I saw where I decided I wanted to be a dancer when I was 9 years old.
Wow.
So I told them that story. So they said, "This is where you belong. You belong in this case because everything in the museum goes full circle." Well, they have his bronze ballet shoes, his jacket. I mean, it's Arthur Mitchell, the man that every black dancer goes, "Oh," because he's our savior, right?
Yes.
So, and there's a picture, and I'm Sugar Plum Fairy there, and next to him are my shoes.
Wow.
My point shoes are right there. My son says, he looks and he goes, and he goes and he looks, he goes, "Those are my mom's shoes. You guys, those are my mom's shoes. My grandkids can come here and say
Oh my
that their
gosh.
great
Oh my
grandmother's
gosh.
shoes are
Wow.
right there."
Wow. Wow.
Girl,
Wow.
that. So when I think of the Smithsonian to this day, I go to my son saying how proud my kid was of me, is of me. That means
So much. And how old was he then?
so he's 18 now. Well, we got to do math. She's making
Yeah,
me do
yeah, yeah.
math.
Like 14. Like he was in the
14 or 13 or something.
ugly teenage years where I am. Not that you're ugly,
He
Bella.
was
You're
cute,
beautiful.
but he was goofy, yeah.
Yes,
He was
yes,
cute and goofy, yeah.
yes.
Those years.
Wow.
Usher's cool. Mom isn't. And then when he got there,
So
he,
did he get to meet
no,
Usher?
no, because we went.
Oh,
No, we were having a family. I was so touched that my 13-year-old son was,
like so moved by your accomplishment. That's the best.
because he's grown up in the theater. His father's Kyle Turner. His dad was Luther Vandross' last saxophonist. So I mean,
Wow.
he doesn't know. I mean, you know, he has no clue when Wynton Marsalis calls him and says, "Okay, son," because Lawrence is a drummer. He's a jazz drummer,
Oh, okay.
and he's at Florida State University now.
Oh, that's right. No,
So
no.
no. I said I'm going to do that inappropriate thing.
Yes.
I mean, I know that's inappropriate, but I can't wait to get in the stands and do that.
Yes,
Right?
I know.
But yeah. So his world has been in the theater and jazz bars, and that's just he doesn't know. Sonny Emery, who was the drummer with Earth, Wind and Fire, gave him a lesson on Zoom. I mean, he just doesn't. He knows, he gets it, but he doesn't get it. So he's at school. He goes, "Mom, the girls figured out who you were." I said, "What girls?" He goes, "The dance girls at FSU." I'm like,
Wow.
"Oh." So come to find out, they were studying me in a history course or something. Anyway, whatever. So yeah, it's my son brings me back down. My son brings me back down for sure.
And you
and
do have
I'm a
another love
teacher.
in your life.
The love of my life.
Ooh, I like that. Tell us about how that happened.
Okay, so I'm in recovery. I have 12 and a half years sober from
You
alcohol
go,
and drugs.
girl.
Whoop, whoop, whoop. So, yeah, I met my husband on the back row of Alcoholics Anonymous.
It can happen.
It can happen. Yeah, I was never getting married again. My focus was going to be on my son, getting through college, and teaching as much as I can, and then learning even more about teaching and different techniques and on. And then God kind of said, "You've asked for this person. You've asked for this person. This is who you've been searching for, and here he is. And he loves me, for me, warts and all. I don't have to perform. I don't have to pretend."
Amazing.
Yeah. But my picker was
Off.
the beacon that I had going up, because I wasn't being me. I was trying to please all the people and
Yes.
do all the things.
How are you able to achieve success in the midst of that journey? Like success as a dancer.
Well, okay, so
How were you able to differentiate
well,
all
the
that?
success happened before I hit
Oh,
rock bottom.
Okay.
I knew retirement was coming. A lot of changes. People don't like change. We don't handle real change well. We like to be in control. I shouldn't say we. I should just talk about me. I
No,
don't
it's
handle
true for
change.
human nature.
I don't handle change. I want to control things. I want to fix things. I'm a fixer. I'm an absorber. I want to please everyone. I mean, that's how I was living my life. That's exhausting.
Yes.
So what brings me center, what I thought brought me center what change is going to change the way I feel about myself. So that's how I and I have this addictive personality, right? Already. So I have the disease of addiction. I just have that disease. So once I start, I can't stop.
Which is a blessing and a curse.
Yeah, it's a blessing and a curse. So once I start doing dégagés and hitting fifth positions and whatever, I can't stop. So great, that's good when it comes to being repetition with what I'm doing technically, but it's not good when it comes to things that destroy you, right? That can destroy you. So, and I mean even that way with sugar. Like once I have a little bit of ice cream, I want more, and then tomorrow night I want more, and then I want more, and then I want cookies. It's the devil. It's the devil. I mean, I still have the sugar, but it's, I mean, you know. Anyway.
So what is your health regimen now? Is it involving...
Move, eat, be happy, and love.
Aww.
That's my health. In that order. Because that's what it so, actually, no, not in that order, because it ends with happiness. So movement is way important.
Yes.
Every day, you need to move. Movement is life. You got to keep moving. Eat. I'm a foodie. Eat what tastes good. But if it's not healthy, find that healthy thing and make it taste good. So when I cook, that's what I think of. How do I do that, right? With less butter, less salt, less this. So the best of the freshest serving size is important, right? You don't just, you know, I will have chocolate, but I don't have the whole box of chocolates. Love. Like really love. Like find things that you love to do. Find something. Passion is important. Passion is important. We are a passionate species. We're pack animals and we're passionate pack animals. Right?
What's the pack animal side of that?
Pack. We need to be each other. We need
to
be
together.
We're pack animals. Humans
we are.
Pack. Yeah.
I think I shared this with you at lunch. I've been researching blue zones where people live to be 100 years old.
Oh, right.
In these certain areas, and 7 of the 9 characteristics are about connection. The other 2, moving.
You have to move.
And eating from the land.
That's right.
But so many are about connection and love.
Okay,
and,
so love, okay, I get goosebumps again. I love my son. So there's that love.
Family love, yes.
I love what I do.
Yes.
Not many people do what they love to do. I couldn't believe that, right? Not many people do what they love to do because they don't find out what they're passionate about. You got to try stuff. You got to go somewhere you're not comfortable going.
Yep, and see. And I feel like when you love it, then you can push through the hard, mundane times because you know that you're going to reach that flow again and you're going to get that feeling.
Well, okay, so get that feeling. There we go. So endorphins are important.
Oh, yeah.
Food, sex, love, happiness, thing, euphoria, all that.
Hiking. You're hiking now, girl.
Girl, look. I didn't think I wanted to walk anywhere. I live in Houston. I ain't walking nowhere. I got a car. It's hot. I don't want to sweat, blah, blah, blah. I sweat for a living. I perspire for a living, so that's good. But I love hiking.
Glow.
I love Colorado. I love Utah. I love Houston. I'm not moving. We got it going on here in Texas.
Amen to that.
And there's so many wonderful places. So during COVID, we drove to Montana. We drove from Houston, Montana with the dog.
Wow.
We said, okay, this is in the beginning when we didn't know what was going on and how many cases or whatever. There was like 3 cases in the state of Montana.
You were like, let's go there. We're safe.
So we got in the Tahoe, got the dog.
Yes.
Packed enough crap for 10 days, and we mapped it out where we started at 5 in the morning or whatever and ended at 2 or 3 so we could see the places we were going. And I wanted to go to Montana via the Grand Canyon because I'd never been. So we just went west. So you know you got hit I-10 for a while. And we were not quite kind to the Navajo Indians, might I add, because there's no water west. There's no water in Navajo. There's nothing. There's like, it's like red rock and some cactus and a lot of FedEx trains and whatever, but anyway.
Did you go by the Prada in Marfa, Texas? The Prada sign?
Yes. Yes.
Isn't that a funny place?
Oh my goodness. I was like, it didn't, yeah, I saw that. I did see that. Okay. You got me.
Focus back. Focus. You're driving there.
Okay. So, but it was wonderful to see how much beauty we have right here in the United States. We don't have to really go anywhere.
We don't.
We don't. It's wonderful. So then we went to Cloudcroft, New Mexico. Cute little lodge thing there. Interesting. Then we went to the Grand Canyon, Arizona, and then we did Salt Lake, and then we went to Montana. Stayed there for a couple of days. I taught Zoom in a dance studio with no kids, but Zoom in a dance studio. It was
Love
nice at
that.
a friend's place. Then Chris played a little golf. I went to the
Spa.
yeah,
Yes.
and then we came down straight. So we went through Colorado, and that's when we went, oh, Colorado Springs. We got to remember to come back here. And little did I know I was going to be getting married there in a year and a half. Anyway, so then we come down, and then we went through Cheyenne, Wyoming. Then we stopped in Lubbock, and then we came home. So, I mean, it
Wow.
was, yeah, but it was wonderful. It was,
And we just don't always take the time to do that. And,
I-
that was brilliant.
and I said I would never, I do not want to be in a car longer than 3 hours.
Look at you. You did
I mean,
it.
I would drive. I mean, you know, I'm from Houston, Texas. We drive, right?
Yes,
We drive.
we do.
But as I've gotten older,
Yes.
I will fly.
Yes, exactly.
But no, it was great. It was a good road trip. And so I'm married to Chris Stanaway. I'm Lauren Anderson Stanaway, Mrs. And that was kind of the thing. It's like we got along really, really well. We get along really well anyway, but we didn't kill each other
Yeah, you're like,
in the
wow,
car for
this
10
might
days.
stick. Yeah.
It was wonderful. It was wonderful. A lot of talking, a lot of quiet times, a lot of meditation, a lot of reflection, and it was wonderful.
I think that's the
wonderful.
best part of COVID is that we could all take time to reflect.
We could all take
Time. Absolutely. So on that note,
Oh my
we are
goodness.
running out of time. So the
we have to do a part two. We got to do a part
we got to, girl. So living authentically, you meet so many people from around the world. How do you know it's real? How do you know relationships are real? How do you know people are real? Like what
Well,
is kind of your
I tend to disarm people right away, take them off the hook right away. There's no, I don't know, and I say that because of the social stuff that we're going through, that we've been going through. Girl, we never got out of it. Really and truly, I don't know why people are so surprised. Anyway, that's a whole nother thing. But like evolution is not just the earth. Evolution's people, right? We've got to learn how to live together, and when rules change, and pretty soon it's not going to be a problem because everybody's going to be beige, because everybody's mixing. So when
that's true.
rules change-
Yes.
So when rules change, so that's what I mean by rules change, and we're allowed to be our authentic selves. You can't lie. You can't lie. I always say when you're performing, as a performer, when I'm coaching dancers, I'm like, you need to tell the truth. You need to be whatever it is that you're going to be, and you need to tell the truth. The audience will come back, clap, and come back if you become the music and tell the truth. Right? So, and then because they'll believe you, they'll believe the performance. That's when that Oscar-winning actor or actress, when you see them, they're living their truth right then and there, and it feels real. So you can feel that. Kids the same way. You get a lot of kids,
yes.
they're the same way. So disarming someone so that they feel safe to be able to be real with you. How do you do that? You're real with them. It's just like a smile. When you smile, generally somebody smiles back.
They do. And I found that
Whether they feel it, believe it or not.
people mirror your behavior. If you're forgiving, if you're kind.
Generally.
Not always,
Generally.
but most of the time.
Yeah. So just be.
I love that.
Allow yourself to be. It's hard. And that's why it happens later in life, because you got to go through all the crap to get rid of the crap. Be the crap to get rid of the crap, to know what you don't want to be anymore. So
And
you
I
can
think
just be
that's
you.
what young kids are not
Struggle with.
sure about. They're struggling
That's because they have that phone.
and they believe that
The
life
crap
is
on the phone.
perfect, and they don't know that everyone's going through crap every
Life is
day.
not okay. So on, and I say this: you see the perfect jeté or turn on Instagram.
Yes.
How many times did it take that
Did
person
you-
to do that? Right. How many
Yes.
times did they do a take 3, a take 4, a take 5, a take
Yes.
6? A live show, you're only as good as your last show. So you're only as good as you show up in your life.
Mm-hmm.
It is how you show up in your life day to day. Right. That's authentic. How you
Yes.
show up as yourself, right? And we also have to put the bat down. We beat ourselves up because we're not as good as, just be. You don't have to be as anything. As what? There's not another you. The one thing that makes us all the same is we are completely different.
And if we allow ourselves to be that different. I know, I notice it
beautiful.
when I drop my daughter off at school and everybody has on the same shirt. I mean, not that on a uniform.
That's a uniform, right?
And then they're also the, even when they go to a party, they all have on a tank top and a skirt and their hair is cut the same way. And I think that that once you get out of high school, then you can start to be on your own.
You start to, yeah. I think it happens in high school, right? So middle school,
Some
they all
people
want
are
to be the
branching
same.
out, yeah.
So in elementary school, kids don't care. They're closest to the source. They're just themselves. Kids are just
Right.
themselves. They don't care.
They're most
My son,
independent, yeah.
they've got a pack of kids that they still hang out. They started out in kindergarten.
Mm-hmm.
Honey, which one's Jacob? He's got brown hair. Okay, so that eliminates two people because two are girls. Okay, which one's Jacob, honey? Well, mommy's got glasses. Okay, so that takes it down to two. I'm thinking, is he Hispanic or black? Which one? There's a white kid, 2 Hispanics, 3 blacks, and 2 girls. So which one? He's like, Jacob, I don't know. He's got glasses, Mom.
Exactly.
So they think of it totally
see it
differently,
Yep.
which is wonderful because that's the generation that
can really
That's going to
change.
make it happen. Yeah,
Okay.
whatever change needs to happen.
Well, you have made change, and you have inspired us all, and you made me cry many times today with beautiful.
You did tear up. I was
yeah,
like, don't do it, girl. If one of those tears drop, we're
because
gone.
it's just because you are so real and raw, and you are so talented, but you've gone through hard things to get here, and that's what people need to understand, is it isn't automatic, and it isn't given to anyone.
No.
Real success is earned through the effort and through the journey, and the willingness to overcome adversity.
Willingness.
And you have done that, and you connect with so many, and you're such a blessing to our city and our state.
Girl, I need you to come to my house every morning and tell me that so I feel good about myself.
But
all
don't
the
we
time.
all have to
Oh, of course.
help
But
each
we
other?
have to do it. We have to do it.
And we have to inspire other women and men. And a big
People.
shout out to Adam Andrus, our amazing,
Adam, I
beautiful
hope you made me look good, baby.
sound engineer, and Danette in the background who keeps it all going out to
Absolutely.
everybody out there. All right. Lots of
Thanks.
love to everyone. Seeing you after the holidays. Living the authentic life. Take care.